John.
G'day, Vince.
How I'll work the new Monday morning group is I'll send out a link each say the day before each time. Yeah.
Sure. I was wondering, I thought it was going to start today, and I was wondering, actually, I was dreaming. I was dreaming just before I woke up that I was in the meeting, and you were saying, okay, who's paid their money?
Yeah.
I woke up. But yeah, so when will it start?
On the 1st of September.
1st of September. Okay. I didn't read the email or the message properly then. 1st of September. Okay. No worries.
Yeah. So it'll be this meeting. It'll be an hour earlier than this. Where are you?
I'm in Queensland. So yeah, we've got daylight saving. Hang on. So when daylight saving kicks in, it'll be 6 o'clock Sydney time, and then it'll be 5 up here, won't it?
Yeah.
That's okay. No, I don't mind that because it clashes. I'm trying to keep the body together, and I've got this Pilates class on Mondays and Fridays. So
right. Oh, good one. Yeah.
So it's great. I don't mind getting up earlier.
All right. Yeah, it's a bit of a trick. That time might change. Like Lorraine's in Western Australia, so for her it's bloody 4 a.m. after daylight saving kicks in, or even earlier.
It's 3 hours or something, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite a bit of difference. Yeah. So it depends on where people are that decide to come. I might then rearrange the time to suit more people. You know.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah. You just do what works best.
So this meeting is going to be an hour earlier, Vince?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Starting on the 1st of September.
Okay. By the way, your link to your YouTube channel doesn't work in the email.
All right. Well, okay. Thanks for that.
I cut and pasted it and it worked, but it didn't just go directly there. Not that matters that much.
It's good to get the feedback. I can fix it up. Yeah.
Okay. What is the first 100 enlightenment stories? Where'd that come from?
Those little stories that I've been sending out every day.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I've collected them and put them into a PDF. Well, I'm actually up to my 3rd book now. I'm up to about 109 of them so far, but I put them into books of 50. So or just a PDF, you know. Yeah, so they're a collection altogether.
When are you going to put up the PayPal link or something?
Look, you don't. I'll just I'll join you up to the paid group for free. No worries. Yeah.
Well, I don't mind, but anyway. I just letting you know, if you thought you were putting a PayPal link or something in the letter, you didn't.
No, I didn't. No. It's a case of paid Substack subscribers.
Okay.
Doing it.
I'm a little curious as why you're going to limit the viewership to just paid subscribers or attendees.
It's only for that one meeting. Well, it's a case of if they're going to pay me $8 a month, you know, I've got to give them some value, you know. So it's a case of just making it a bit exclusive. There'll still be 3 free meetings a week.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And
cool.
Vince, I tried to.
Yes.
Hi, Vince. Sorry, I tried to upgrade to the paid subscription on Substack, and it said I had to go to a different website to do it, and I tried to look on your website for a link to subscribe. Is there a link on your website for that? Does it
No,
have to go
there's
through
not.
Substack?
No.
No.
You
I
can't
wonder
do it
why
on
it
the
did
app.
that. Yeah.
You can't do it on the app. You've got to go to um,
Desktop site.
to the website, and then
Oh, okay.
you've got to find subscriptions, paid. You know, your subscriptions. It's hard to negotiate too. It's not easy. I took a while to find it too.
All right. Well, thanks for that, John. I'll look. I don't. You know, I'm still having trouble finding my way around bloody Substack. I'll put a link to the Substack homepage or website on the next email that comes out, and I'll fix up the other one as well, Paul. And then you should be able to do it. It should be straightforward. God, what a pain in the ass. Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah,
you've got to
once you
tell
do
me
that,
all
if you
these
put a
things.
link,
Otherwise, I don't know. Yeah.
yeah,
I
I'm
don't.
sure
I
it
never
can be
use the
sorted.
apps. You see, I only do it on my computer. I find using things on the phone another difficulty. You know, it's too small and too hard to get. I like having a mouse. You know, or in my case, a touchpad.
Fair enough.
My fingers are too clumsy to use a phone easily.
Yeah, good to know though, because a lot of people will be coming in through the phone, so good to give you the feedback.
Yeah. Okay. I'll mention that. Thanks. Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning here, anyway. Yeah.
Good morning.
I don't think we've met before, Xander, have we?
Twice, actually, at
Oh,
least.
okay. Well, there you go. That's so much for my memory.
I went to one of these before, and I went possibly to Everything Awakening through POK.
Okay. Yep. Good one. So how are you traveling?
What's that? Oh,
How are you
yeah,
how are
I
you
guess.
traveling? Yeah. Yeah. That's just your cue to start talking. Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah.
Oh, playing with Fetter 6, looking at
Okay.
the automatic self-referencing.
Yep.
The way that it seems to me is it's not referencing itself, but like there's the creation of the 3D by shifting location, what's being focused on.
Right. Have you stumbled on or had experience of the automatic labeling that goes on when
That
as soon as you focus on something?
that doesn't seem to be happening here anymore.
Okay, right. So you can see something and your focus is on the process of seeing rather than the what is being seen. That's a
Seems that way.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny when you asked me that question. It's like I looked at my the machinery when I choose to work doesn't seem to work as reliably. Like it automatically labeled the monitor I'm looking at as a TV when I decided to let that happen, or when I was exploring that explicitly, but it doesn't automatically arise
Right.
anymore. It seems.
Yep, yep. So it's not really. It's the way. I mean, of course, everybody's got their own version of this, but it's not for me the fact that you label. It's the sense of seeing that happening is both creating separation and creating the world. You're building what you're interacting with by making it a something that's not you.
Right.
And it's easy to then say, this shouldn't happen. But that's not right. It's a case of recognizing that that is what happens. That is the process when it happens. You're not going to stop creating the world. Well, you can't. You'd be in trouble if you did. You wouldn't. You wouldn't be able to walk anywhere or move. And so you've got to continue to create the world to have a world to live in. So it's just like a lot of these things. It's a case of recognizing that it happens, and then, I guess, experimenting with that, living in it and seeing how it works until the nervous system changes its reaction. Yeah.
Yeah, the labeling has stopped, but like the 3D-ifying is has continued, persisted.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's another trap as I see it, and that is this thing that where people will say, "Well, you should experience a 2D world." Now, again, you're going to have trouble if you live in that. You can't. So,
Yeah.
if it happens momentarily, what the value of that is that you're seeing that the 3D aspect is a creation of your brain,
Right.
a very useful creation of your brain.
Definitely.
So again, we end up with, what is this world? Well, we've got no idea. Is it not there until we put it there? Is it persistent and separate from us and we just perceive it?
There's no way to know.
That's right, exactly. No way to know.
But there it is discernible, but are unnecessary creations. Like the self-referencing doesn't seem to be completely necessary all the time, and it's creating a surface possible friction.
Sure, that's right. The self-referencing is necessary for you to move through the world, but you recognize again that it's just a mental creation. It's just a useful way of moving. Without it, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I had a moment of seeing differently. Like there's this little desk in my office here, and I was playing with one of Kevin Chenelak's exercises, and for a moment, the desk did not appear to be in reference to me, but in a more of an objective, if you will, 3D space, and it happened for like a millisecond. It was trippy. It was it wasn't in reference to me. It was just an absolute space.
Yep.
And then it reverted back to being in a passive reference to like this sensory source.
So where were you when it was not referencing?
I think there wasn't that there wasn't a reference to me. There was just like I don't know.
So would it does it resonate to say you were the desk at that time? You experienced the desk rather than experienced it only in the visual field?
No, that doesn't make sense.
Well, there's not much sensible about this.
Yeah, but when I check what you're saying and match it against the experience recollected, it doesn't that they don't.
It doesn't.
That wasn't the experience. It was just, but there was sort of a lack of a perceiver source. Like it just like there was just the implied reference point wasn't there, but there was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's enough. You know,
experience things that way.
You'll never find words to make sense of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a good realization, one that I had, was if you look at a painting, right? Say, let's imagine a painting in front of you, and on the painting is a road that goes up the middle of the painting and off into the distance, and there's mountains and things a long, long way away in the painting. And then you see how it's wider at the front and the bottom and gets narrower as it goes off into the distance. And then you walk around and look behind the painting, and of course there's no road, is there? You know, what your brain is doing is saying, there's the 3D aspect of this thing. It's closer at the bottom and further at the top, but it's in fact on a flat sheet. Exactly what it's doing with the world. That's where the 2D thing can kick in. But you look at a painting for as long as you like, and you're not going to be able to turn it back into a two-dimensional thing. You kind of can, but it's a trick to kind of see it as just paint on a flat surface. Just as it is a trick to see the real world in that way. But it's all that is all about, just recognizing the trick that the brain plays to make sense of things, to make it useful.
Right.
It's a space that we can move through. Yeah.
Except
Good
we
stuff,
can't move
isn't
through
it?
painting.
Yeah. It's really interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
If only Wile E.
Xander,
Coyote.
just to add to that analogy, which is very helpful, when you visualize what Vince is telling you, you're standing in front of the painting. In other words, you're located in front of the painting. The experience is more like visualize yourself as being in the painting, looking up the road, rather than outside of the painting. In other words, you are part of the painting, or you are just a part of the total experience. You're not outside of it. And that might make it a little easier.
Same
'Cause
could
you're
be
still a
said of
subject
your
when
car, Vince. Like it appears that my mind is creating the illusion that the back window is actually farther from this than your head, but it's definitely not. It's just pixels with no actual dimensionality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And without even the illusion created by two eyes creating that's not even here because there aren't two different viewpoints.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, they're equidistant, aren't they? Yeah.
They are, yeah. The mind
Though,
just
look, the brain is amazing. Yeah. I've told this story many times, but you may never heard it. And that is that at one point I put a stick in my right eye when I was lawn mowing. It came out from underneath the lawnmower, came this stick and poked me in the eye, and I ended up in hospital. And the first thing he did was he shone a really bright light in my eye to see what the damage was. And as soon as that light hit my eye, I could see this spider web of blood vessels in my eye. And I went, oh, wow, this is amazing. You know, I'm seeing as clear as anything. I could see the colour, and I could see where all these blood vessels ran and so on. And I said to the surgeon, how come I can't see that ordinarily? And he said, you can. He said, but as a baby, you realise that it's totally useless to see it. It's not helpful. So your brain just turns that off. And that was a bit of a life changer for me. That was how does the brain totally ignore certain things to the point where they're not a physical experience when in fact they are. It's incredible. You know, talk about selective perception. That's just amazing, isn't it?
very much, yeah. Yeah.
And of course, the big thing with go on.
I was going to say, like, just like the eye we normally can't see floaters, the things that are floating across our field of view on the eye itself. It's the same thing, but that's a little easier to notice, I think.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say now. Doesn't matter. So one of the big traps with feta work is seeing that the progression of numbers, right? And you're up to 6 and it's 6 out of 10 and you've got to get to 10, etc. So it's this case of mistaking the map for the territory, so to speak. But it's a big suck in. Yeah.
I kind
So
of like
you,
how Todd and Pernell rearranged it into a pie, into like
yeah,
a wheel
yeah.
to
There's
like
no
try to
beginning and
overcome
there's
that.
no end. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, previously there's like this strong orientation to wanting to be as far along as possible.
Yeah.
But like I was just on Angelo's thing where he's interviewing Kevin Shanelak, and I was thinking, wow, there's a lot of doing for no particular reason. It seems like it could be Fetter 9. So I thought, well, let's start with Fetter 8 and see. And as I was listening to him, he was talking about like Fetter 7. I was like, oh, actually, that could be good. So I go to Fetter 7. It's like, and he's talking about what they just did with 6. Like, oh, actually, let's do that. Yeah. And the thing you talked about, Fetter 6, seems to be or 4 and 5 seems to be pretty solidly in place in that most, if not everything that used to cause some level of reactivity in me just like doesn't. Occasionally, there's the possibility of buying into a story of needing to get approval or something, which there does seem to be some like that seems to be a vector of falling into some level of conditioning, but mostly that's not there. It seems to me to like need to like tacitly agree to something that I know isn't true for that to happen first. It's like I have to believe that this person has something that I want, and then it's possible to feel disappointed when they don't give it to me. But
Mm,
that movement has to happen first. And if it doesn't, then there's no possibility of reactivity at all.
yeah. So do you get that any reactivity? Well, yeah, this becomes a bit of a trick too.
Yeah, it's
You never,
maps.
you're never going to be without reactivity. That's
That's
the
yeah,
nature of being alive, isn't it? You know, yeah.
yeah,
But certain reactivity reveals identification, and it
yes,
doesn't matter which fetter you're looking at. You're actually talking about that. It's identification, whereas
right,
this
yeah,
personal aspect to something.
yeah.
So, what are you going to do with your life when you've broken fetter 10 and there's
Who
no,
the fuck
yeah,
knows?
no more fetters to look at? Yeah. It's a really important question. Yeah, I get that it's quite hilarious. You know, that means you give up seeking at that point.
It's mostly dead anyway. Not
There's just
completely.
enough of it alive
Zombification
to
happens.
keep you doing this, though.
Yeah. I was actually reading, I think it's Marius's post about the disdain that arises with awakening and noticing I never really had that. But like as I was reading his article about like what it means to let go, I was like, oh yeah, I'm right at that juxtaposition that he's pointing at, where there isn't the need to animate, but the animating still happens. And like the it's not exactly people pleasing, but there is this moving into like still being the person I think people want me to be, even though there's nobody here to do that. It's still
Mm.
arising, and it's becoming increasingly um, unappealing to do so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I often say your personality will persist.
Hmm.
Right? That's the conditioning. I mean, if you can imagine if you were born and you had zero conditioning, if
Yeah.
that's not possible really, but just imagine it, right? You'd be totally dysfunctional. You wouldn't
Right.
be able to talk to anybody. You wouldn't be able to move. You wouldn't even know what to do when it came to food. You know that there would be physical preferences, but how to implement those would be beyond you. You know, so we do need to learn certain things, and the consequence of that ends up with what we call a personality. Now, of course, we lose a whole lot of the aspects of our personality. That need to please people is a good one. You know, that's a big one. You know, that's part of.
Yeah.
You could say that's part of the instinct of belonging to a herd. You know, the fact that we're a communal animal. You know, there's a level where, so the difference between desires and body preferences, becomes a really interesting point. You know, where is it? Are you going to stop liking chocolate ice cream once you're awake? Well, probably not. If you like it, you'll probably keep liking it.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe the eating
Yeah.
of chocolate ice cream was all about a nostalgic experience I had with my mom when I was 5. And
Could
once,
be. Yeah.
like, it's like, oh, this is, why did I ever like chocolate? Like that kind of shift I've definitely, but
Yep.
like, yeah. Alcohol, for example, has definitely fallen into that. It's like it's much more difficult to enjoy uh, various forms of alcohol. There's still like stories that live a bit about what particular wines mean, but in the actual experience, they're much less compelling.
Right. Yeah. And then, of course, there's that interesting aspect of getting tipsy or getting drunk or however much, that of how appealing was that and how is it now kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not appealing. It's sort of entertaining in a certain way, but it's not compelling.
Hmm. Yeah. It's an interesting world that we're moving into, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. I've read a lot of Jed McKenna, so like when you ask what will you do with your life, immediately, I don't know if you're familiar with Jed McKenna, but like
A
he
bit.
just
Yeah.
like he like just plays video games and he waits for the world to end him. He's just
Hmm.
he's waiting for time to kill him. He's like killing time until time kills him. I think that's his quote.
Yeah. And in the meantime, he dances with whatever life offers. Yeah.
That's yes, yes. The yeah, I was walking back from a coffee shop the other day, and I realized that with each step there was a context that was present, and in noticing that, I was able to drop that pre-existing context, which contained like the fact that I had just left a coffee shop, and just like letting go into this moment in the unknown, and that was yeah,
Yep. So then you start to play with this concept of continuity. You know that
right.
that
Hmm.
that what if you come at this and recognize that every instant, every now instant is absolutely fresh and unique
Yeah.
and has zero connection to the idea of an instant from before or an instant in the future. It's easy to see that it's disconnected from something in the future, but the idea that this instant was born out of the previous instant is really hard one to let go of, that it's
Yeah.
absolutely fresh. So the moment you turn your back on the coffee shop doesn't exist anymore, except
Yeah.
as a memory, as a
Right. Yeah.
story. Yeah.
An assumed context. That's another trick the mind plays.
Yes. And a very useful one.
Is
And
that
and
also
s-
Fetter 6?
I'm inclined to see it more as Feta 7,
Hmm.
is the absence of rather than the presence of. They kind of run together for me a bit, 6 and 7.
Yeah,
You
hearing you, I
know.
can feel how they run together. It's so interesting. Like as you speak, I can almost feel into how they relate to each other.
Yeah.
To me, they were discrete. Now hearing you, like, oh, I could see like they're kind of like flip sides of the one coin.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's the way I experience them. Yes. There's even a kind of a dependency. One is dependent on the other, and the other is dependent on the one kind of thing.
Hmm. 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 One might
So
seem
six
more
is
primary, but
a
they still.
creation.
6 is a creation.
It's about creating form, the presence of form. But 7 is not doing that, because we also create 7, but it's an absence of what we do in 6. Well, not an absence. um,
Right, 6 is like the subject object, and 7 is form and emptiness, basically.
yeah, well, the way the original Feta stuff was, it was about the obsession or the fixation on form, and then the fixation on the absence of form. And so it's more about our relationship to it than about what it is.
Another
Something
way to
just
look at it
happened.
is 6 and 7. Another aspect of it is they're two sides of the same coin, like he said, but they frequently fall together, as 6 is the feeling that there's a subject in experience, separate from experience, whereas 7 is that there are objects independent of this subject out there. When the collapse happens, both of them kind of disappear because the subject becomes as the objects, the same as the objects in terms of location, and the objects in a way become the same as the subject in terms of location, in that there is no real location anymore. It's all just one thing. So the collapse kind of takes both of them down at the same time. And it shows you the emptiness of objects shows up. The emptiness of the independence of objects shows up when the collapse happens, and you realize they're not out there and you're not over here. It's all just one thing. And it's all that brings up the emptiness aspect to it, is that they're not independent. They are empty of independence, because it's all just one thing. They're not over there and I'm not over here. It's all just one experience with this body mind part of it, if that helps.
I don't know, but I enjoyed listening to you speak.
Okay. Well, I guess that's some value.
It
Oh,
was
that's Feta
requiring way
6.
too much effort to like
That's
juggle concepts.
yeah, it's good for ego, I guess. What I'm saying is 6 and 7 tend to, or for me, tend to fall together, because if the idea of this things being at a distance falls, there's no such real thing as distance. It's all just one picture. It's like if you're sitting in a surround theater all around, and you're sitting in the middle of it watching the scenery. It switches over to you are part of the theatrical experience. You're not sitting in the middle anymore. You're a character in the movie, in a sense. You're not out here and the movie's over there. You are part of the movie, or you are part of the painting.
Yeah, the
Which is
conceptual
about
aspect of that fell, but the experiential aspect of it hasn't.
well, you have to notice it.
Yeah,
It's
no,
all you can
totally.
do, and just start observing. And it's a lot
Yeah.
easier when you're outside to see the collapse happen. It's very difficult inside, where there's no real sense of distance about anything. Outside, when you have the sky and the clouds and the trees in the distance, the 3D effect is much more pronounced when it starts to break.
Hmm.
Was for me. I've heard other people say that.
Morning, Richard. What came up here a moment ago was that the emptiness, the Buddhist emptiness concept that a lot of people get confused about, or it seems that they get confused about, is that no so-called object has any inherent characteristic of objectiveness, objectness, right? So there's no cupness in a cup, there's no carness in a car, there's no treeness in a tree. They're all applied by us, projected out onto those kind of things. But if you go one step further and see that what we're applying it to is also projected out. The object that we're saying, I see that there's no inherent characteristic in that object, then but what we're doing is just a slight 2 degrees to the left or right or somewhere, slight different thing, and the object itself also becomes a projection. Now we can start with, what I use to start with this is that, say, there's me and you and a dog and a cat and a frog and a cricket all lined up looking at a tree. Every one of us is going to have a unique view. You and I will probably both agree that it's a tree, right? We'll overlay this label called a tree, even though we have different experiences of that, right? Your idea of the greenness will be a bit different to mine, or whatever, you know, we'll have our own mental creation that we relate to when we use the label tree. But the other animals and insects, they don't use a label, presumably. I mean, I don't really know, but they don't. We know that the dog's going to see it in less colours than a human. The cat's going to see it differently. The frog's only going to see movement, and the insect is going to see it probably in the ultraviolet spectrum or something. I don't know the exact one. So which one is right? Which one relates to the actual object? Can we say it's true what the cricket sees? Is that truer than what the human sees? So none of us have any real idea about what the actual object is, or, and here's a big one, even if the actual object exists, other than as our experience.
Yeah, the cat
We
sees
don't
the
know.
tree as an escape route. It's radically different than how we see the tree.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, but
okay.
bird will see it as a source of food or whatever, you know. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that, well, I call that the absolute, you know, as just a way of creating a concept to relate to. That absolute is absolutely unknowable. We have no idea what it is, or even if it actually exists.
Yeah, like as humans, we prioritize certain aspects of treeness, like the height and the shade, but a cat prioritizes radically different aspects of treeness.
Absolutely.
And who's to say which is true? It's both like survival or functional oriented, not truth.
Yeah. There are many different ways of looking at it, yeah.
Dog, it's like somewhere to pee.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And something the cock is leg against.
Yeah,
but
to like leave a signpost saying, I was here.
Yeah. But if for example, it doesn't actually exist except as a projection of us, how come the dog projects something to pee against? So is there
Yeah.
a relationship between us and the dog where we have this implicit agreement about the fact that there's something there? It's possible, you know. Maybe it's not there for. It's only there for both of us simply because there's some interaction between us that, again, that we don't know about. So it's just a big fucking mystery, the whole thing, isn't it? We have no idea about anything. All we know is what we experience.
Oh. And what we experience is hugely colored by our survival
Absolutely.
strategies and our conditioning.
Absolutely. It's an interpretation and is coloured by our perspective, which is conditioned. Yeah. So everything relates back to this self, everything. So even after Theta 10, there's still going to be a relationship. It's about the colour of that relationship that we're talking about, not the fact that it exists or doesn't exist. We're not looking to move to a place where it doesn't exist. Otherwise, we become dysfunctional.
Yeah, right.
It's really all about the dysfunctional aspect or the maladaptive aspect of that relationship that existed before this journey started, or even during this journey. And are we ever going to get to the point where there's no maladaptive aspect to it? I kind of wonder. I think not, at least not in my experience. But when it happens, it's seen. Usually. Sometimes not as instantly as other times. So we got, in the beginning, mountains are mountains, then mountains are not mountains, and then mountains are mountains again.
Yeah, I was with the mountains are not mountains in the sense that they're empty, but this, with the particularly with how I'm experiencing catness, really is a cut deeper. It's like I know it isn't a tree, but this is like I don't even have a reference point to say what it isn't.
There you go. That's Theta 7. Well, maybe more that you're very happy to not have a reference point about it. That's Theta 7 more than, yeah.
Hey Vince, can I ask some questions?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so you remember last time I asked you like how to properly do um self-inquiry? How to properly do self-inquiry, and you told me to sense into my body for the physical sensations. And so and this is how it worked out for me. I'm not saying it didn't help, it did help me, but like how it worked out is like I would constantly ask myself like, "Oh, who am I? Who am I? Who am I?" And then like my body would be pretty stable in whatever like signs it showed, I guess. Like it would like whatever energetic changes, like it would be pretty minimal. So like the what I'm trying to say is that the rate of my asking this question kind of exceeded like the times in which my body actually showed a change. So then that kind of sucked for me. So then I also watched the video, and Helen Hamilton said that like that car is you, that fridge is you, that fish is you, like every like that's how you can do self-inquiry. So then I also started doing that. But then like I feel like so what I'm trying to say is like I feel like I'm just very stuck on self-inquiry because I feel like there's no real answer that comes out of this, and I feel like I'm just bumping against a wall, and there's no way out of it because because like I cannot come up with like a valid answer for this question. So I was wondering
Okay,
like is there
stop, Vicky. Stop. That's
okay.
that's that's perfect. What you said. I cannot come up with a valid answer. Right? You won't. There is no answer, or rather, the answer doesn't appear in words. You can't. There is no narration that we can call an answer that's going to come up with this. So as you're talking, what I'm thinking is something that I heard Marius say recently that I think is really valuable. And that is that there is an inclination for us to collect spiritual concepts, and that we think if we keep repeating those concepts to ourselves that we will have a breakthrough. And we possibly might, but frequently that's also a trap. That means that all we do is we continue to say, there's no self here. Who am I? Who am I? This is a spiritual concept as well. Right? So we're looking to what we want to happen is we want to experience what I would call a discovery or a recognition that what is actual is that we have stories about Vicky that we respond to. So the stories are easily seen as pure concept. They're just words. They're not even written down. They're just words that appear in your mind about Vicky. Vicky likes chocolate ice cream, or Vicky likes donuts, or Vicky doesn't like broccoli, or whatever, a collection of those things that's been going on since you were born. But it's the response to that. It's when the story turns up and we go, oh, there's a feeling about that. So, if it's like Pavlov's dogs, if you like chocolate ice cream and you think about chocolate ice cream, your body starts to salivate. But that's the reaction to the story, and that's what makes the story seem real. That's what gives it that the sensation validates the concept, and the concept validates the sensation. So the sensation is just a sensation, but the story gives it direction and meaning and purpose. And so you can see how the story validates the concept, the sensation, and the sensation validates the concept that goes around and around, and it becomes a closed loop. And that's what we're looking to do, is break that loop. We want to see that this is how our world is created, by what we do. So one possible way out of that loop is to recognize that the self is just this bunch of stories that we react to. But that, as a concept, that doesn't do anything. It's got to be the recognition of it. It's got to be the discovery that that is the way things really are here. And that discovery is, oh, okay. And there's a dropping of the shoulder and an exhalation and a breathing out that goes, letting go. Oh, that's what we're looking for. And that's the discovery. You can say, I don't exist all you like. And while it's just words, nothing happens, except you're busy saying those words. So the idea that then as humans, what we've been taught is that you're going to achieve this by applying effort. If you meditate right and meditate enough, it'll happen. If you say, who am I enough, it'll happen. Well, it might or it might not. Every word that I say here, I want that to happen for you. I want to say something that reaches in and grabs your brain and gives it a squeeze and squeezes out some of those concepts, and you can experience the squeeze. And then you just exhale and drop your shoulders and let go. And something changes. But I don't know what those words are for you. We can say all sorts of things and try all sorts of things and hope that one of them will work for you. That's all. And it will. If you keep going, it'll work. One of them will. But this is the trap we're seeking, is that you're looking, it's a paradox. You're looking to use the mind to stop the mind from having control. You're seeking to not seek. Everything is paradoxical.
Right. So I guess like thank you for saying like thank you for everything you said. I guess like what I want to say following that is just like I guess what I want to really convey is just that I feel like self inquiry is getting me nowhere. And like I have had times where I've felt more inspired, or like someone's like, or I just watched something or something happened and I felt energetic shifts, but I feel like with self inquiry they're just not coming, like the
Yep.
shifts are not coming. And so I was wondering, like, should I switch to presence meditation where I meditate on, or where I try to bring more presence into my life? Because like, but the thing is just like self inquiry, everyone says it's the thing, it is the thing to do, right? And then but it's just not working out for me. So I'm
Ah,
starting to do vipassana, I'm starting to do
uh,
presence. Like, is this, do you think this would work for me?
sure. Well, I don't know about working, but yeah, look, if self-inquiry is not working for you, you can presume that it's not working because either it doesn't resonate with you, or you're not doing it right, or, well, let's just say there's some mysterious reason why it's not working, right? So it's like, does that mean that then that the best course of action for you is to work out how to do it differently that might have an effect? Or do you keep jumping to a different modality? And if you do that and you just scratch the surface of each one of those things, you can go around 1,000 of them and still not get anywhere. So are you going to stay with one enough to find some effect? You're going to sink into one deep enough for it to have an effect. But even that's a trap, because that's the idea, is that you can do something to make this happen. Well, you can't, right? The idea, and you've heard it said, that this, it's grace. It happens by grace. Well, that's just one way to describe it. What I would say is it happens when all of the necessary conditions for it to happen are present and aligned. And those conditions for you are going to be different to everyone else. But we don't know what those conditions are. You know, so it's a kind of a useless concept to talk about a story like that. But that's as good as you're going to get. To say that you'll get it through presence rather than through self-inquiry, I don't know. I suspect that if you apply the same thing you've applied to self-inquiry, if you apply that to presence, you'll still not get anywhere. So then after a few months of that, you'll go, well, I got to find another way. So you'll move on to something else, and then something else, and then something else. And maybe one of them will. Maybe one of them will trip you over into that thing. But maybe, just maybe, I will accidentally utter the sentence that will trip you over right now. Maybe, maybe not. Probably more likely not than maybe. But it happened for me. I did what you're talking about. I did it. I did everything. For 45 years, I did everything. And in the end, it was one sentence that did it for me. That's just a mind boggle. How come I didn't hear that sentence before? Maybe it was uttered 1,000 times and never registered. I don't know. It happened when I was ready for it to happen. And that's a story too. All I can say to you is from here now, the way I see things now, I would say, stop trying so hard. Kick back and enjoy the ride, because it's going to take as long as it takes. And when it happens, it's when it happens. And it's really got nothing to do with how much effort you put into it. It's probably got a lot more to do with how much effort you don't put into it. So I
Yeah, because
love this
oh,
concept. You're fucked. There's nothing you can do. Absolutely nothing you can do to wake up. So stop trying. But I know that's impossible for you. You're going to keep trying because you can't do anything but try. So enjoy it. Enjoy your trying. Don't believe that that's what's going to get you there. It'll happen in spite of your trying, not because of your trying.
Can I offer an alternative in self-inquiry?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So I noticed for myself that when I say I in the past, it felt kind of like it in my head. And when I say me, it feels like in my chest, which is like strange to notice. It's like what is it about the sensation in my head that has anything to do with this? And then me, how can they be in different sensations? And I just assume they're pointing to the same thing, but my direct experience says otherwise. So just like I could say I is sort of like a targeting mantra to like notice where I seem to have a sense of an I. And then like contrast that with like me or even my name and notice that they all feel different, but they're just sensations.
mm,
Yeah. And I've heard some people say they get more value out of saying, what am I, rather than who am I? And I suspect that's a bit similar, Xander, to what you're saying about the chest and the head. What seems to be more body than head?
Yeah, I
Maybe.
think for me, when I did the inquiry, the actual looking was missing. Like, who am I just sounds like a mantra, but the invitation to actually look along with like the saying of it seems like it could be useful.
And what is your experience of looking? How do you look? That's a really interesting one as well.
Yeah, I noticed that when I first started these, I had no actual capacity to look. It didn't exist. Always labeling as soon as I tried to look.
So I find it really interesting to do this. If I use this story about self-inquiry, if I say, who am I? As soon as I say that, my mind immediately goes to who? 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 Have I got a capital W on WHO? 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 What's a who? And then I'll go to M. Oh, M. M. Is that like B? Who am? M. M implies existence, doesn't it? That I am something. M. M almost sounds like M. And then I. Oh, God, that one. I. Is it a capital I or a little I? Interesting. Since I woke up, it's almost an insistence that I spell my name with a lowercase v for Vince, not an uppercase V. Uppercase is way too pretentious.
That's great.
So you can see kind of the flavour of that inquiry. Not looking for an answer, but looking to expose the complexity of it and the implications, the hidden implications in it. And there's not even any reference to a self there, really. Just playing with the words, those three words. And if I change the who into what am I? Well, it becomes a different question, doesn't it? But the what implies some kind of object. So it's easier to see the question of, am I this body, this organism? Is that where the I resides? But if we drop the what and we just go, am I? Oh, that's more fruitful. Am I? Am I? Question mark. Or am I? Exclamation mark. Am I? It's like, do I exist? Am I? Have you done this kind of stuff with your inquiry?
No, I just ask who am I or what am I and just
Look for an answer.
look for an answer. Wait, are you not supposed I guess like I don't even know what you're doing. Like I don't know what you're doing. Like
Yeah.
I see what I hear what you're doing, but I don't really understand what you're
Yeah, it
doing.
doesn't make
So
sense to you. Yeah, okay.
yeah,
That might be
yeah.
good. That might be great. Like understanding is not the panacea that it looks like.
Hmm. Can I ask Vince, like, when did you stop? Like, for how long did you seek, and when did you stop seeking, and how long after you stopped seeking did you become awakened? Because, like, I was gonna stop seeking after I came to this group, and then I went to a different teacher, and they
Yeah.
said you gotta seek at least a little bit, and then so I started seeking again, and I don't think I'll stop seeking just because I have a lot of energy to burn.
Absolutely, yeah,
But
yeah. No, this idea of seeking and not seeking, it's not something you can do. It's something that happens. And your question for me was that that I was a seeker probably all my life, but I started officially seeking when I was about 20. And my first foray into seeking was to become a Christian, or actually not a Christian. I became religious, and I became a Baha'i. So it's not a Christian religion, but it was just one of those God-oriented ones. And that was when I was 20. And I woke up when I was 65. So I would say, there was 45 years of trying everything I could come up with to get enlightened. I really wanted to walk on water. I was obsessive about it. And when I woke up, that one sentence that Eric Gross told me, that
sorry, my mom was calling me. I was trying to get a drink, but sorry, my mom's calling me. Sorry, I'll be back.
okay. So you jump in too, Richard, anytime you've got something to say. People like Vicky, the more different perspectives that we can offer her, the more chance there is that something will click for her.
Yeah, for me, there's just so many avenues on offer that entertain the mind and entertain the story and will trick you endlessly into thinking you've got something new and that you're onto something. And the experience will back it up, and it'll give you some sort of sense that it's getting somewhere and that there is some sort of meaning behind it. And for me, it was just the recognition that there isn't a single thought that's leading anywhere because there's nothing in it.
Mm.
It has no structure, it has no substance of any value other than it's a thought. It doesn't matter what you call things, as long as you don't believe that it's true or it has any substance that the mind suggests, then it's just really as simple as it is. If that's a I mean, even that word, like, what that's got nothing to do with it either. It's got nothing to do with words, it's got nothing to do with thoughts. No thought or word or memory or hope or emotion or sense is going to take you, it is going to get you where you already are. It's not going to get you here. It's not going to. So for me, it became very clear that taking my attention away from thinking, away from thoughts, is and that's sort of like, I guess over time it slowly deteriorated because the attention was being drawn out of it, so the focus of the energy was being drawn out of it. The wheel started to come off in a way, like that sort of thing. It just started to sort of dissipate, and then what started to become more obvious is just a sense of relaxation with just this. And it got a bit crazy for a while, like, the mind, everybody, as you've said, everybody's story is going to be different. Everybody's experience that the world or the mind has created, everybody's individual mind has created a different story based on their experiences, based on their life. you know, so it's just it's.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm.
It was, yeah, I'll share a story. It was really interesting the other day. I saw like, I mean, it was many years ago. There was like a psychic that said, "Oh, you're going to be this and that, and but what you need to do is get rid of your cynicism. That's what's in the way. That's your block." And I was like, "What cynicism?" I didn't even know what it was. And then I looked it up. And I was like, "Oh, right, yeah, I'm cynical." Okay, so I spent years trying to figure out how to lessen my cynicism and like, you know, um, and it was interesting because pretty recently I just noticed that I was cynical, like as the character, I'm cynical, even though there was nothing behind it. There was no story behind it. There was no, you know what I mean? There was no substance behind it. There was just, and it didn't make any sense. Like, why am I as a character cynical when I can completely see? And it was like, oh, it's almost like it's scripted. It's like, oh, this is a scripted character that happens to be cynical. It makes no sense if I've seen, you know, I see through it. But I was like, oh yeah, I'm cynical. I can't. There's nothing I can do about it. It doesn't really matter. But what was funny was the amount of time and energy that I put into thinking that the story behind this character could do something about that. It's like it's just a scripted character. I mean, that has to be seen. You can't just add that to your character, to your personality, to the persona. But for me, that wasn't seen by me doing something or trying to undo something. It was literally just putting my attention outside of thought. I mean, you could say that's doing something, but it's removing my interest in the fact that that's going to lead anywhere. It doesn't matter what the process is, what, you know, what the promise is, who's saying. I was just like, do you know what? I don't believe anybody anymore. Is where I got, you know, because they're just
That's
saying
pretty
words. People
cynical.
are just saying words.
That's pretty
Like,
cynical
who
of you.
gives a shit? It's like you said about, well, to you, the tree is this, the color. I don't know if your version of green is my version of green. It doesn't matter. Um, you know, everybody's version of everything else is different, but so really all you've got is your experience of reality, like direct reality, rather than, I mean, I think for me, I was trying to make everybody have the same experience or try to create some kind of balance somewhere. So maybe everybody could get on, or we can all find peace or something like that. But that was all taking me away from
Mm.
just direct reality. And actually, there's a sort of sense of peace in just experiencing the body. It doesn't matter what it is, even if it's um I don't know, a bit of anguish or something, whatever. It's like, oh my God, that's the joy, that's the gift. I'm actually experiencing all these things. And it isn't just pretty and it isn't just beautiful and it isn't just, I mean, it can be,
Mm.
but without the mind's interpretation, it's like free.
Yep.
And there's just no, they become like the questions just fall away. Like I, me, you, them, who, like it just doesn't even.
So that's a big one. How could you? What could you say to Vicky that would help the questions fall away for her?
For me, the what accelerated it, let's call it, was just recognizing that no matter well, recognize first that reality is not a thought. The direct experience, this direct experience is not a thought. It has nothing to do with thought. So it has nothing to do with memory. And it has nothing to do with imagination or what would you call so in other words, past or future, right? So the mind is always going, it's always leading you. It's like this, I felt it like a pull, like I had this sense of like, I've got to, it was just an automatic, like a habit. It was like an addiction. And it's like you're removing an addiction, just like any addiction. And of course, that takes time. That actually does take time because you've got a physiological addiction to thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And a group of like the main thought, you could say the primary thought, because there's just thought, there's thoughts kicking about, so what? But when those thoughts are like anchored around an eye, like like it's interesting because I saw like look at look at a capital I. It looks like a magnet. It's like polar
Yeah.
opposites, isn't it? It's like a positive and negative field. And no matter what you do, you're going to be flipping between one, one pole of any particular attribute or condition or something and another. You're just constantly going to be going. As soon as you get to the end of one,
Yep,
well, that
yep.
didn't satisfy. You'll flip to the next, and then these things just go on infinity until maybe you get absolutely bored, or it's just too painful, or your life falls apart.
Yep,
Right?
yep.
I'm not laughing, because it happened
Yeah,
to me.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. No, I get what
absolutely,
you mean. Yeah,
I wouldn't
yeah.
let it go. I would not let it go.
So this is the crux. This is this point. What there's some trigger that happens. There are it's not really a trigger, but some condition turns up, where you get bored or you suffer too much or something happens. And then you realize that the old way has no validity. It doesn't work. Doesn't work what? It doesn't work to make you feel good.
Well, look, so for me, one part of it was I had to be humbled and get honest with what am I trying to achieve? What's my story? What do I really want? Okay, I want all my family to get on. I want, you know, the perfect this, the perfect that. It should work if I put this effort in. It's got to, because I've learned all this about human psychology and I've done the trauma work and I've done the experiencing and I've done the emotional work. So I should be able to make this work. And I just, when it suddenly dawned on me, I was like, well, what's the reality? The reality of the situation is if I stop believing what I think is happening and where I think it's going, or what people tell me, what the reality is, actually, I don't get on with this person. I don't, my life didn't turn out how I wanted it to. And I just sort of started to and I started to feel, well, there was maybe some shame or there was maybe some things to feel like okay, fine, I've got to feel all of that. I just said, you know what, I'll just feel whatever I have to
So
that's
could you
real.
say that you recognized that you had been taking a lot of stories or concepts to be reality, and that was
Oh
something that
yeah.
changed?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was reality. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that, but I didn't. So what I did see though, I saw like it was like there was I couldn't see reality because there was instantaneously a thought would come and own it instantaneously. It was so close. Like you haven't even got a millisecond. I noticed even at some point in deep meditation that even a sound, I couldn't even hear a direct sound because the mind was making that sound. It was overlaying a sound. I was like, fuck me, this mind's clever. What's it doing? You know, why is it protecting on every single level? Protecting, you know, maybe that was my thought at the
Insulating
time.
you, actually, yeah.
Isolating me, insulating me, my experience. You know, and in part it's because of the amount of effort and attention I was putting on it. And so then I'm putting more attention on it because it's just getting, it's almost like, well, I've given the analogy once, you know, can you imagine, it's like dreams, you know, like people that really focus on dreams. I've done it myself, and you get really into them and you start looking at lucid dreaming and this kind of thing. And the more attention that goes into it, the more lucid it gets, the more sort of, the more real and the more consistency there is within the dream. And I was thinking about people that go into a coma, you know, and if they've got within the coma, if they're in it for like days, or some people are in it for years, and they apparently, I've heard stories where they come out of the coma, if they had awareness within that coma, they have a life. You know, that dream world has become, they've got a wife, they've got kids, they've got a job, and then they go, well, no, where's my wife? Like they're mourning. I was like, well, it just sort of builds a reality. And so my sense is that the dream, like this, the dreams that we have at night is like a psychological continuation of your waking dream. So when you, because what was very clear, I shared with this the other day, was when the first breakdown of the eye disappeared completely. What also disappeared, and I was like, that's interesting. There's no dreams whatsoever. I was like, so that's where I made the link that dream is related to the
Constructed
to the I
reality.
character. Let's call it the I character, the identity. Yeah. I mean, I forget where I was going, to be honest. So, yeah.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time.
Yeah,
No, that was good. Yeah.
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 I'm sure someone said something that sparked me off.
Yeah, that's it.
Hmm.
It's interesting, that thing on the wall behind you, when I first saw it, I thought,
Yeah.
why have you got a sound wave on the wall? And then I saw the
Oh, yeah.
bit at the top and thought, oh, no, actually, it's a landscape and there's a mountain in the background, and the
Yeah.
bottom stuff is a reflection in water, you know. And then I thought,
Yeah.
you know, I can turn that into all sorts of things, you know.
Yeah.
But I can hear a wow, wah in the sound.
Yeah. Exactly. Hmm.
That's exactly what I thought, and I didn't see that until you just pointed it out, Vince. I said,
Yeah, it's like
what's a
trees, the
sound wave
mountain.
doing there?
Yeah.
Wow.
What's that sound? Yeah, it could be anything, but yeah, apparently it's trees reflected in a
and
lake.
a lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Mm.
Oh, good, you're back.
Oh,
So if you weren't present for the last 10 minutes, then watch the video, because we're talking stuff for you. Yeah.
okay. Wait, today is August 10th. Okay, I got it. I have another question that I like to ask.
There you go.
So basically, like, I was thinking about my ex recently, and I was thinking about like going back to him and seeing like whatever, but that's just minutia. But he's not spiritual, and So I think your wife is also not spiritual. I think because I think you told us. So I was just wondering, like, I always thought that I'm very spiritual and I need a spiritual husband or spiritual boyfriend. And but like, is that not necessary?
Uh, yeah, that's a tricky one, isn't it? I tell you what you need. You need whatever is in your life. Whatever's there is what you need.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that
Um,
makes sense. So,
yeah.
yeah.
It's a tricky one. To say my wife's not spiritual isn't true. To say she believes what I do, all of this stuff is a load of shit, that is true. Or if I say that to her, she says, no, it's not true, but she behaves like it is, you know. So I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. We don't know the internal world of somebody else, do we? We don't even know our own internal world.
If you want to
So
go back and revisit your self-inquiry question, I might could add some perspective.
wait,
Um,
what did you say? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said if you want to go back and visit your self-inquiry question, I might could add some perspective.
Oh
Can you hear
yeah,
me?
yeah. Yeah, let's go back to it.
Okay, so let's just say, now you know from an intellectual point of view that the self is a fiction, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you take a few minutes in the day and you say, okay, I'm going to do some self-inquiry, do you see that you're reinforcing the fiction when you even say that? Because you're saying, I am going to do self-inquiry fiction, knowing that there is no real I. So you reinforce the fiction first thing. And the second thing you do is this imaginary I is going to do self-inquiry when there is no real self. So you have an I that doesn't exist that's going to do inquiry on a self that doesn't exist. So in terms of I don't know what you ask yourself, but a more helpful since the I is simply a series of thoughts, a more helpful exercise, and they give this over at Liberation Unleashed, is to sit and watch thoughts come and go. And you will see thoughts about I, thoughts about me, and they can come and they self-release if you don't hold on to them. And when those thoughts of I and those thoughts of me self-release, you are seeing the I releasing and the me releasing. And perhaps that will help you to see that there is no I doing an inquiry and there is no self to inquire into. There are simply thoughts about an I doing self-inquiry. You understand that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Try that. Might help.
Okay, thank you.
So, Paul, just talk a little more about that moment, that instant of self-release that you're talking about. How would you describe that?
It's when a thought just comes and goes.
So
And you
it's
don't,
the
there's no grabbing onto it and going off into Storyville with it.
yeah, okay.
In other words, a thought about the forest. Oh, I was in the forest yesterday, and it's gone just like that. Or an example of the grabbing would be, oh, I was in the forest yesterday. Oh, and I saw a deer, and I saw a bear, and I smelled the trees. That's the grabbing on and getting lost in story. The thought itself self-releases when that grabbing doesn't take place. And it can be the same thing with thoughts of I or me. I am doing self-inquiry. And getting lost in story is, well, am I doing self-inquiry right? Is this the way to do it? Is this what somebody told me? Whereas the thought, I am doing self-inquiry, can come, if you're just watching, that thought can come and self-release and disappear. And the next thought will come, oh, I have an appointment today, and that will come and self-release. It's the grabbing that is the actual I, the fictional I, in a sense, is the the notion of the grabbing. So since
So
the
if
I is nothing but thoughts, just watch them come and go.
yeah, so that's where that's the interesting point for me is what is the experience of them coming and going? So a thought turns up, blah blah blah, you know, pink elephant,
And then it
and then
goes.
and then, but is it suddenly not there
Yep.
because another thought turns up, a different thought
Yep.
turns up and
Yep.
displaces it?
Yep.
So so we go from pink elephant to red giraffe. And when I'm
Yep.
recognizing that there's a thought of red giraffe there, I can turn around and go, oh, the pink elephant thought's not there anymore. It suddenly
Right.
disappeared.
And then
And
that can
so
go.
we're just watching each thought being displaced by the next thought.
Yes. And there may come a time when a thought releases and nothing follows for a
There's a
short
gap
period of time.
between the two thoughts.
There's
Yes.
a gap between
Yeah.
the two thoughts, which can lengthen over time, which is where non-existence is, for lack of a better word. If there's no thought, there's no self.
Does that stuff resonate with you, Vicky?
Yeah, I think instead of doing self-inquiry in the future, I'm gonna do watching my thoughts.
Yeah. Try it out. You don't reinforce the I so much that way. And just keep in mind, when you sit down to watch your thoughts, keep in mind, there is no I watching the thoughts. There's just thoughts coming and going. Otherwise, you're back in the trap. Do you see that? Just the same as
Yeah.
I am going to do self-inquiry, now I'm going to watch my thoughts. You're back in the trap again. Just sit and thoughts coming and going will happen.
There is a one I find interesting that could be that you can also recognize that as you seemingly observe, as there is observation of thoughts coming and going, there is the observation perspective. And when you focus on the noticing of stuff, you can recognize that noticing doesn't require a subject or an object. That noticing can just happen. It's a different focus than the noticing of thoughts coming and going. It's where the emphasis is on the word noticing. But noticing does not require a you to do the noticing except in concept, except in the mind. So noticing can happen, just like lifing can happen, without there being a subject or an object. But we don't want to confuse things, but that's just an extra that might happen. You can notice the noticing. But if you do what Paul was saying, just watching thoughts come and being displaced, and then maybe you'll get a glimpse of a space between the thoughts when one goes before the other one comes. So the idea that the thought that comes is going to displace the previous thought is already turning concept into reality. It may or may not happen like that. But a thought, it's interesting when you put your focus on a thought, there is no period of it arriving. It's not there and then it is there. It's instant. And in order for it to stay for more than an instant, it keeps reappearing, instantly reappearing. It's not, no thought has any duration. there is no continuity. So if a thought appears and it appears to stay more than an instant, it's because it keeps reappearing, not because the thought itself has any duration. That's another interesting thing you can notice about thoughts. Did that make sense,
I'm a
or was
bit
that too much?
I'm a bit confused, but thank you.
Well, do you get that there's a great depth to this, that there's a lot of things you can discover?
Yeah.
And also, the mind is going to want to discover something. And one of the things you'll discover is that nothing is definable. So if you can
That makes sense.
discovering, that's about as far as you can get, or as close as you can get to discovering something.
Okay, thank you, Vince. I learned I learned a new tactic today. So thank you guys, Paul and the other guy, I forgot his name. Oh, Richard, thank you. Oh, also Alexander. So thank you guys, and I'm gonna leave now. Bye.
See you later, Vicky.
And another one I came across that I found really useful fairly recently is somebody saying that if you don't, so if you don't use time, let's say if you don't use time, if you don't use past or future, what do you believe right now? So if you just for a moment just don't use time, you don't use past or future, what do you believe right now? And invariably someone might say, oh, well, there's no past or future, what do I believe? What do I believe? So then they haven't got thought to use, and then there's just like nothing. There's an emptiness. And so take the word nothing away. What's left is like, well, stillness, silence, this, I don't know, this, nothing, this. And it's like, well, so that hopefully can give you the sense that, okay, so then what is the, so then what's to seek, what's to find? If you're not using past or future in this moment, you're bringing them to this stillness. Well, there's nothing to seek unless I engage a thought. And then you see the nature of the seeking is like, well, it's all got to be based in thought. It's all got to be based in past or future, which has got nothing to do with now. That means all belief and all thoughts are all kind of made up things that we use, like you said, conceptually use, but they have no, they're not, they've got nothing to do with this. They've got nothing to do with this. And so I find that a really powerful pointer.
Yeah. I like that, Richard. That was good. I hadn't thought of it that way before. Because when you were saying it and I was doing it, I was going, not even nothing. There was like a paralysis turned up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a hack. It's sort of like, if you don't use past or future, what do you believe?
It also can reveal the pervasiveness of the concept of continuity. Yeah, that seems to be something a foundation that everything rests on, is that there is continuity.
Exactly. And then the listener might say, yeah, but okay, but how do I keep this? And you go, okay, so that's a thought, because the
Yeah,
thought's
yeah.
just telling you something about the next. And they go,
Yeah, well,
oh yeah,
keep infers continuity, doesn't it?
exactly. So then you go, okay, that's a thought. Throw that out. And oh yeah. Oh yeah, but
Right.
then when I go away, it's just another thought. It's just another thought. It's another future thought. And then basically it's just getting used to the fact that that's what thought is constantly doing, taking you away. This is the addictive pattern into
Yes.
future, which has no reality except
Yeah.
as a thought. And you
Yeah,
go,
yeah, that's a
what
good
you're
one. Yeah.
seeking is actually just direct reality, but you're seeking it. There isn't any, you can't seek it. This is the point, isn't it? This is what we always say. It can't be sought, it can't be found because it hasn't been lost.
Well, if
You
you're seeking it, it's stopping you from being it.
Oh, yes, it's just a thought about, I mean, a thought can't have anything to do with direct reality. It can either have something to do with the past or the future.
Well, that's its reference, yeah.
Right. It's got nothing to do with, it's always after the fact or
It's always about.
conceptual overlay
It's always
or,
about, yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I get that, yeah. Yeah,
And
no,
then what we
that's a
do
good
is
one.
we follow
I'll
that.
definitely use that. That's a good way to put people in a corner, if it's appropriate. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I wished the story turned up here. That it would be good if Vicky was still here and I could grab her with that one. That would stop that overactive mind.
And possibly a lot of unnecessary practices.
Yes, absolutely. Chasing rainbows. Yeah.
But, she's got the recording.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully she'll listen to that. Yeah. Because she's seeking. She's seeking. She's obsessively seeking. There you go. I just made up a new word by accident. Seeking. Yeah.
The one that got me was something like, well, I think I mentioned it last time. There's nothing to seek. There's nothing to seek. It's not like there's nothing to find. There's not even anything to seek. Like, do you get me? It's like, so what? So this thing, there isn't anything. There's nothing of substance. There's nothing to seek even. So that had quite an effect on the movement, the attention drawing itself into just that addictive pattern, you're just trying to break break that habit. It was like, wait a minute, there's nothing. Yeah. And it wasn't a thought, it was like it's like a recognition, and that just pulls the energy out of it, let's call it that.
Yep. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I frequently get hooked up in the subtle difference, subtle but incredibly important difference between looking and seeing. If we're looking for, or we're looking at something, and we have to have some concept of that thing in order to look. And seeking is looking. And so it's looking for seeking is obviously looking for, but we can go, seeking is also includes grasping at. You know, we're trying to grab a hold of something. It's some achievement, it's some end point that's there. Whereas seeing is a verb, and seeing has no requirement for either a subject or an object. It's a process. So it's a subtle difference, but a very important difference. So when I was seeking for all those years, when I was told that the phrase was, Vince, the mosquito bite of seeking will never heal while you keep scratching it. That the realization that hit me, boing, it just really rocked me. That just blew me into an alien world, that sentence, because there was the recognition that if I was seeking, I was looking for something in the future that was an impossibility. So what became obvious was that what is at the moment, that couldn't be defined, but it didn't matter. What is at the moment was exactly what is. And that to want anything different to that is to create a story about some impossibility. Anything that, so the catchphrase was, this is it, became a mantra for me for quite some time. This, whatever this is, the current experiencing, this is all there is. This is it. There's nothing apart from this, except as a story. And of course, the story is just words.
Yeah, and the problem with with you having that recognition and then sharing that with a seeker
Yeah.
is that they go, this is it, and then that, but there, this is an overlay of
Yeah.
thinking, and that, because I went to the circles, I went to the likes of Tony Parsons and what have you, and I remember sitting in those rooms thinking, this is stagnant energy right here, and this is just people pretending they've seen and they're free, but they're just going, this is it, and it's like, oh, that includes what I'm seeing. In other words, just the thinking patterns that are just conceptualizing this, and it just goes to say, like, but it's not a word. But it's not a word. It's not, this is it, is not the concept that the mind then makes up. You know, you've almost like got to give that as a
Caveat on it. Yeah.
a caveat, yeah, because there's another guy that came up with effortless being, and beautiful guy, and definitely effortless being became something that he described his experience of a long time, how life works and how his life works when he's, you know, not in thought and living in accordance with reality, direct experience. And he's called that effortless being. It's being effortless. But then, of course, people come and go, oh, it's effortless being, and now they're
I've got to put effort
conceptualizing
into
effortless,
being that way.
and then everyone's trying to find effortless being, which is just two words, and then whatever associated experience they think that is, which is another box. And you're like, yeah, but it's not that, and it's not that, it's not effortless being. It's got nothing to do with, because you might not call it that.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Doesn't
I
matter
get what
what
you're
you
saying.
call
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I recently had the thought that I'm a shit guide because I've been living in this for so long that I can't really relate to people who are seeking. Like there's just concepts, there's just stories about what it is, what life is like for them, kind of thing. So I came up with the idea that people who are newly awakened would make a much better guide than I am to help people. Because I say things and people just can't get it and it's so obvious to me. But yeah.
Well, that's what we can do is we're using language to describe your direct experience, but and obviously what we can do is just keep putting people, I think something like what I've just shared with you, which is like, what do you believe if you don't use past or future? Something like where you can give them an actual taste.
Yes, yeah, that's a good one.
Like, oh, and you go, there's nothing more to it than that. Honestly, there's nothing more to it than where else is to go except a thought. There's nowhere else to go. And if that is, really hits home, then the unraveling, you could say, of the held character, the held dream, at least well, that does its thing, right? That's everybody, like you said, everybody's is different. And then, we're all using language to talk about things, but it's ultimately got nothing to do with language.
Yeah.
But you got to point them to the fact that it has nothing to do with language and nothing to do with words. And that doesn't mean that it's something that you're not able to be aware of, or something that's out of your grasp, or something. It's actually much closer and much more simple than that.
Yeah. So I get the feeling that we're looking to break something for them.
Well, I would take that away because it doesn't. It's not even. Well, does it need to be a break? It doesn't. It's almost like a. It could be like taking off a loose slipper that you didn't even know you had on. It doesn't have to be. For some people, it might be like a really tight shoe. What? And for some people, it might be very different. It depends on the moment. But it's also like the permission that it isn't something impossible to get, or really difficult, or arduous, or that's going to take forever, outside of your grasp, and all these beliefs, these held beliefs that they've been passed on. They've been passed down the years of spirituality and what have you. I mean, the young one there was talking about spirituality, and what even is that? Where's spirituality gone? Where's that gone?
It seems like a crazy one to even consider somebody spiritual. What does that mean? Yeah, it's weird. I had towards the end of my seeking days, I had a couple of years of non-duality stuff, and I found the same thing. I used to go to meetings at Sailor Bob's in Melbourne, and I'd just come away so frustrated. I just But one of the really big good things I got out of it was that it's possible for an everyday normal, so-called normal person to wake up. That was a possibility. That was a big plus. But yet the actual process itself just left me incredibly frustrated. I couldn't. I ended up dropping that altogether. Mm. Okay, well, if nobody else has got anything to explore, we'll wind up in a few minutes. Eh?
I can say a little quickly. I just joined, but like just about this effortless being. So hi everyone, actually, first of all. So I get into this trap about effortless being. Like I heard it from David Bingham, and people like in his group, they will understand like what is that effortless being. And then I went around and started asking people how you get to that effortless being, what is that actually like in day-to-day life, you know, what is effortless about you? And it's like people have different type of, you just what they explained to me is like when you observe that everything arises in your field and there is no, you don't do anything, like that part of you that observe that everything arises is that is effortless being. So I try to practice that. It's sometimes it works, like you see that you don't do, and there is no one that does anything, like in a sense of form that you observe, but still it's it's can be confusing label.
Yep. So another way to look at that's probably more familiar with stuff that we've talked about in the past is the controller. Having control. That's an illusion or a delusion if you really believe that there is somebody there controlling things. So is it the same thing that when we give up the idea of control, that there is a controller, that we become effortless? They're kind of related, but not necessarily the same thing, are they? So effortless talks about not putting effort into it. And effort implies some kind of energy consumption, some kind of force, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. For me, it was like when you say being, then it immediately means like it aligns with body, like okay, it's
Existing. Being is
yeah.
existing. Yeah.
So that was that immediately identification with what is here, like body. So it's, but also body arises in the field. So it's
Mm. So every word can be seen from so many different angles, can't it? So the idea of being, is it a verb, being? Is it an activity or a process to be, or being? To be implies existing in stillness, and being implies existing in movement. There are subtle implications. That's to me. I mean, it may be different for others, but yeah. Boy, I think Maya has one of the most interesting jobs in the world as a linguist. Yeah. Yeah. So, but see, the point is, I mean, I have an instant feeling of recognition with effortless being, but I also imagine that unless that's something that somebody's experienced, it's meaningless. Is it just something to strive for? Then it becomes a thing. That's crazy.
If I can, I think for me it's hard to because it's hard to understand because you say it's effortless, but still there is frustration arising, or even like some people say that if there is effort, but it is effortless. What's the difference, man?
There is a sense of recognition here about effortless effort. I get that. But I can easily imagine that others can't.
I think she's saying that effort arises effortlessly. It's all part of the flow, in a
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, but
Doing
then
is happening.
what is the difference?
It's
It's
only conceptual difference. That's just what's happening. Effort may be happening, or effortlessness may be happening or not happening.
Well,
It's only
this is what
conceptual
what
difference.
occurs here. What came up here is actually there's no difference, right? The
Right.
idea of putting effort into something is a delusion because things just happen. So if you've got a story that you're doing it, that's just the story component of the action. So there's no
Yeah, but
such thing as effortful effort. All effort is effortless.
Yep. There's just the flow, in a sense.
Oh boy, we can have fun playing with concepts, can't we?
Full of a flow that's full of concepts about effort and effortlessness and doing and not doing, and it all just happens. Yeah, the mind
Yeah.
really,
I feel
the
like
mind can really trap you.
I feel like I'm getting more and more far away from what is it that you are talking about with effortless being.
Yeah.
but even that you cannot know, because this is what mind is saying.
The way I would put it is close your eyes and open your eyes and notice that images show up effortlessly. You don't have to do anything
Mm.
to see what's in front of you. Just existing is the same. It's just there effortlessly. Just like vision, just like sound. But it might be worthwhile to actually notice if you close your eyes. It's just before thoughts arise, you can see. Before any interpretation.
But don't fall
Yes,
into the trap of describing the process that you just went through. So if you describe, I opened my eyes and I saw an image, that's not the way it happened. That's just the way you're describing it. And there's all sorts of implications when you describe it that don't exist in the actual experience.
So the doing is to notice all the unnecessary doing we're already doing and stopping that. So there's nothing to do except stop the habitual doing that we're not even aware we're doing.
I guess in my case, it's like I perceive all this effortless arising as oppressive.
I didn't quite catch that. Can you say that again?
I perceive this as oppressive.
Oh,
Oppressive, oppressive, OPPREV. Okay,
and
I got it.
what is oppressive? Seeing effortlessly?
Yeah,
Hmm.
images,
Hmm.
sensation, thoughts, emotions, like pressuring.
Like stuff happening is kind of distracting.
Not distracting from what?
But your
Term
experience
of
is
art.
heaviness.
It's like, like there is pressure and it's suffocating or heavy.
Ah, and the thoughts help to create space to decrease that pressure?
Thoughts are also pressing.
Hmm.
Are thoughts actually oppressing, or is there a thought that says thoughts that are oppressing?
Yeah, it must come to in the end to a thought.
So there's a thought about oppression,
Yeah, yeah,
but
Hmm.
does that thought actually oppress?
yeah.
Can it do anything? Can that
According
thought
to this thought, it does.
Ah,
But
can that thought
really,
think?
who can
Does
know
that thought think?
what is real?
The
I
thought that
can't know.
oppresses you, does it think?
No,
Does
it
it
appears.
so it doesn't know that it can oppress you. It doesn't even know you, does it?
Yeah, it's a sticky thought.
Right. So
So there's two aspects to a thought. There is the fact that the thought exists. That's something you will experience. And then there is the content of the thought. That is what it's about. Now, of course, they're inseparable, but nevertheless, there are two aspects to it. So you can experience the fact that a thought occurred, and then you have the content of the thought, what it's about. Which of these elements is oppressive for you?
According to this thought,
Yes, well, that's the only way you can do it, yes.
it's just the thought being,
The
not the
existence of the
content.
thought does it, yeah, okay.
So I have a question. So if the thoughts are separate entities, like whatever they are present, how they are, we know there is no one who is thinking the thoughts, but how come they are so good in how to say shaping the thought process? that's trick for me. Like I can see when I like observe the thought, like it's arising, and but how come the next thought is so relatable, and it pretends that it's thinking. It feels like it's shaping the story. It's so that's for me what is heavy.
It seems like it is shaping the story. It's just
Yes,
another thought.
but it's so connected. It's not random thought.
Is it connected, or is there a thought that says it's connected?
But you have coherent story, so so when you think about, like, whatever you think about it, you have continuum of on same subject. Like, you don't, they're not jumping around different thoughts.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and it seems to me that we're reactive or responsive beings, and that we get triggered by circumstances. And when a thought turns up, I would say that probably triggers the next thought. It's not always the case. Of course, we can jump wildly from one thing to another. But wherever that doesn't happen, it is likely that the next thought will somehow bounce off the previous thought.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
it's not compulsory.
but then that gives a feeling that someone is thinking.
Gives the illusion of continuity as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
it's so easy to. So I understand that when you cross the line, then you can see clearly there is nothing. But
Yeah.
from point when you
But
still.
so, but take what Paul was saying is true. It's possible and likely that there'll be this idea of continuity because one thought will bounce off another thought, but they're not actually connected. Usually a thought is about another thought. Not always, but frequently, because thoughts happen so quickly and there are so many. I mean, we have, 90,000 thoughts a day, I think Google says. That's a lot of thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, you'll be having this thought story about pink elephants in Africa or something like that. And then I don't know,
What is for dinner?
the
Yeah.
dog will run into the house and you'll start thinking about the dog. So circumstances will change your train of thought. But until that happens, it's likely to have some kind of sense of continuity, but they're not actually connected.
Yeah, I know they're not actually connected in a sense, but they give the sense they are connected, and then coupled, like, so they are explaining our explaining the experience. So they are labeling the reality.
Well, what Vince is pointing to is what he said is the thoughts. And what I'm pointing to is the thoughts aren't necessarily connected. The circumstances that arise with the thoughts may be the same circumstances, and so similar, not exactly the same thoughts come up, but they have no actual connection to each other. The thoughts, if there's any connection, there's only a connection to the circumstances. Each thought is independent and knows nothing. But when circumstances change, like when the dog runs in the house, then the thoughts change to the dog. This thought about the dog, that thought about the dog, but there's no actual connection between the thoughts. There's only a continuity of the circumstances.
When I observe like that, I'm aware that thought is not conscious, like as thought, like it's an object. But there is a feeling, there is a thinker of thought.
Well, that's another interesting one too. What happens with thoughts is that we respond to thoughts, and some of that response will be physical. So you'll have sensations as a result of responding to a thought. And there's a really interesting loop that goes on there, and that is that the sensation seems to validate the thought, just as the thought seems to give meaning to the sensation. So we get this
Okay.
closed loop where one validates the other, and around it goes. And that's where we get this sense of self.
Yeah, there is a strong self, and it's first of all, it's localized in the like in the body. It feels like it's localized, the sense of self. And then you have this story, and then it's question who believes in the story. Like
Yes. Yeah. Who believes in the story is already
because
creating the who believes in the story.
but that's madness. Like
Yeah,
how
of course. Absolute insanity, yes. Yet that's where most of the world lives.
it's like a parasite. Like I cannot.
Well, paradoxes can't be resolved. They can only be accepted until they get boring. You never resolve one.
You
You're never
cannot
going to
see,
satisfy the mind. The mind will never be satisfied. It's not part of its characteristics to be satisfied ever.
but there must be some gap in seeing through it, through the illusion, because it's so
Yes.
obvious. Like in my right now experience, I feel like sensation in my body, like if, and that sensation saying this is this individual. So like I
Yeah,
exist
yeah,
as I exist as this.
yeah. So here we go. There's a bit of a trick here. So you've got this biological mechanism, if you like, this organism that gets trained to respond in a certain way. And what we're looking to do here is to recognize that that's not necessary. It's just training. But the only way you will recognize it, you cannot recognize it intellectually. The only way you'll recognize it is to have an experience where that training doesn't kick in for even for a second. And every time that happens, that you change the habitual training of the body to say, I feel like me. But it doesn't happen instantly. It does in occasions it'll happen instantly, but if it does, ask Richard. When it does, it'll usually end, and then we're back to the other thing because of the habitual nature of the training. So we got to recondition, we decondition, and then recondition the organism. So the most likely thing is that it takes time, which doesn't exist. But
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
No, thing is frustration for me is exactly because I have openings like
yes,
as this is my like, and I know what is behind, but the only thing is like when I come, like, I know it's the language, but when I come back,
mhm,
let's sort of like it feels so again unreachable.
yes,
It's like
yes,
it feels so confusing, and then frustration because like you don't get it, but there is again who is going to get it, and then you get into this frustration because you know there is nothing you can do, but you are still trying, and it's because you know that if you're offering yourself to idea, then somehow it's going to happen, maybe.
yeah,
You
yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So what I want you to discover is that when you haven't got it, you've got it.
Okay.
I know that sounds crazy.
I,
Uh,
I feel you know what is my feeling? I have this voice in my head that is like that higher power. I don't know how to call it, whatever it is,
mm,
saying to me, you already saw it, like, you know, that's it. But it's the frustration and the heaviness of human existence is, and suffering is still there.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So you had this story that those moments when you've got it, that's
yeah,
it. And that excludes the idea that when you haven't got it, you've also got it. So when you haven't got it, that's just as much this as when you have got it.
yeah, I know. Yeah, that's of
Yeah?
course
It's a
logic,
different experience for sure.
but it's it's overpowered with suffering. I think in my head, the idea is if you get it and if you like, you know, there is no suffering anymore because you don't believe in God.
No, no,
You,
no, no, no. There's no suffering anymore because the suffering is not seen as suffering. Exactly the same thing occurs, but you're no
but
longer calling it suffering, right? So the circumstances of the suffering will still exist, but because you see it from a different perspective, you accept
exactly.
it, and therefore there's no suffering. But it's still suffering that's not suffering. That's a better way to put it than to say you won't suffer anymore.
Like the
Why
thing is,
is suffering not part of it? Where can you exclude suffering?
because you don't have identification, as Richard says, like when you are in that, when you are fully immersed, then there is no past and future, and you cannot, there is nothing to identify with. So you know there is
Can
no,
you yes, can you ever not be fully immersed? I love this one where be in the now. Can you ever not be in the now? Is it
no,
possible?
like when I say immersed, I think there is no trace of personalities. Like there is no identification with someone who is having problems. There is just
Okay, right. What if identification is fine and what we're aiming for is recognizing if there's identification, not eliminating identification,
okay,
recognizing it. Now, this is part of the paradox, the same paradox as with suffering. You recognize that there's identification, it changes. It's not identification, but there's identification that's seen, and therefore it's not identification. So this is words that we're never going to get past, right? It's like there is suffering, but you don't suffer with your suffering because you see it's just the way things are.
but they are not. That's the problem for me, because I can clearly see that I'm suffering just because I believe in some story. And it's like, you know, when mind gets involved, like you believe into something that someone
Yes,
is
yeah,
responsible for your suffering, or some because of someone you are suffering.
yeah,
That's not true, but it's so easy to get into this
yeah, yeah.
narrative.
So when you say suffering, if you go beyond the words, the concept of what suffering is, and go, what is your actual experience? Right, your experience is going to be consist of two. This is simplistic, of course, but your experience is going to be sensations with stories,
Exactly.
right? And the sensations contain no information or instruction. It's the stories that give meaning to the sensation,
Exactly. Yes.
right? Now,
So
you
narrative.
know that you've got a story that turns this sensation into suffering. You know that
Exactly.
you've got that. You see it happening, yet you still have this shitty experience that you call suffering.
Yes.
Well, you're fucked. That's it. You can't do anything. You're stuck.
Congratulations. Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
So sink into that. Recognize that that's just this. And then your suffering changes.
But when you say this, what is this?
Well, it's unknowable. It's undefinable. It's just a way of saying all present experience. So
Okay,
if I
so
say to you, the only thing that is actual in the whole world, the only thing that is actual for you is your current experiencing. And you cannot even define that clearly. You can't tell me what it tastes, what chocolate tastes like if I've never tasted chocolate. You can never convey what your actual experience is, even to yourself. It's too complicated. And so you have your experience, that's the only thing that's actual, but you don't really know what that is. You only know your interpretation of what that is.
okay,
And even that, you're going to make it simplistic in order to convey any element of it, even to yourself. So when
go
you get
back.
into what your actual experience is in detail, it's really, really complex, and it's something you can only experience. You can't talk about it. You can only experience it. And when you get down to that level of experience, it's not going to be suffering. It's not going to
Yes.
be anything that you can put words to.
So I need to, I don't know if I understand well. So I need to eliminate the story. That's the only way to, when you say this, like, I cannot include the story in this experience.
But you can't exclude it either. How can you do that? If the story's there, the story's there. There's
But then
nothing to change. You can't change anything.
To look at what he's saying from a different perspective, you can't eliminate the story. You have to see through it. So the thought, the single thought, I am suffering. Okay. Can you imagine like a chalkboard in front of you?
yes.
All right, put the thought, I am suffering, up on that chalkboard. Can you do that?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. Can that thought think?
No, of course not.
Okay, does that thought know anything about you?
No.
Does that thought know what sensations are going on in your body?
No.
Does that thought know your history?
No.
Can
Okay.
that thought imagine your future?
No.
So does that thought actually have any power?
No.
So if
So,
you see that, then then it's not true it's not applying to anything. It doesn't touch anything. It just happens when sensations arise. Do you see
Okay,
that?
this is very useful. Yeah. Okay, so
so stop, Branny. Stop. Go back about 3 sentences or 4 sentences ago, and you were giggling.
yeah, I
That's
was.
when something changed for you. That's when something changed. That when you were giggling, you saw something.
Yeah, I saw absurdity of of
Yes. Yes. Stay with that thought. Stay with that feeling. Stay with that giggling. Because when you giggle, when you laugh, that's always about a discovery. And stay with what you discovered there. It's absurd to think that thoughts have
I
any reality. Or how would you phrase it, what you saw?
so I saw how the system is melting, like everything is collapsing, but somehow it feels like there is so much behind, like I don't know.
That's because the mind started up again, eh?
Yeah, it's immediately I can it feels like I understand the when you pointed me to the one sentence, it's so like it's so obvious that it's an object and doesn't have any meaning. It's just, there is no explanation what it is. It's just there. There is no power. There is not, doesn't say anything. But then that thinking is the problem. The labeling, the story about me is so strong, and And so how to get from the one to
So
even
let me ask you this. Did the mind take those words back off the board and put them into your head and give them meaning?
cannot do. Wow, okay. It's like
It's a habit.
And it's so
okay.
well trained. It's so well trained.
Inertia is so strong. And
Yes.
that's why I'm always so like, because somehow I know it's not true, but the experience is so painful, and then I'm going back and forward all day. It's painful, but it's not true. It's painful, but it's not true. And I cannot the
Yeah.
way how you guided me to this, like to put that. Maybe I should do with every sentence, put on the board and see
And
like
watch when
that.
the mind takes it back off the board and gives it meaning.
Because it says, mine says, like there is proof in reality, like in reality. So there
That's what
is
the
proof.
mind says. That's a good story. Put that one on the board. What's proof? What's reality? Are they just words again? Are they just strokes on the chalkboard?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
There you go. There's another shift.
It's so it's so
And
much
so
energy.
out of all of this, there's likely to be an experience of frustration, which is also just this. It's fine. Everything's fine. No matter what you experience, it's exactly where you need to be. No matter what. No matter how pleasant or unpleasant it is, it's exactly where you need to be. And I know that because that's where you are.
Yeah, I know, but it feels so wasted, like waste of
Well,
life in a
you
sense.
need that too. Because it's showing you something. Everything is offering something to you.
And then the mind me saying, but like you don't get it, that means you're stupid. Like how you don't get it?
That's a good one. Yeah, well, I'll put that on the board and then erase it. That one.
Because you know, when I saw how life can be beautiful, like what is the point
Yes.
of life? And now every
And now the
moment,
mind is telling you, oh, if only I could get back to that beauty.
not back to
We,
the beauty, but to that layer of existence.
yes, yeah.
Because
Oh,
I know it exists like as a layer of
yes.
in
So what if
so
all this other stuff is just covering up what's already there?
say it again, please. Sorry.
So all of the shit stuff is just covering up this layer of beauty.
Yeah, and then I'm so angry because uh, I can see that life is a miracle. Like I saw it. It's so beautiful, and then I'm living in this like
Right. So
hell of misery.
we have this concept that we've got this layer of beauty, and then on top of that, we've got this layer of shit that's obscuring it, right? This is
Yeah.
a concept. Let's change that. Let's reframe that. So that layer of shit that's on top actually contains the beauty. It's not underneath it, it's in it. It's in the shit layer. And you only have to look at it from the right angle to see the beauty in the shit.
Okay. Oh.
And if you just assume it's shit, you don't actually look properly. You're relating to the label that it's shit. But if you look, you'll see that the beauty exists in the midst of all that shit. And that's how suffering becomes not suffering. By seeing the beauty in the suffering, would describe it as the stuff is the same. But how you see it and how you describe it will be different.
I don't see the gap in this, like the I cannot believe in thoughts in order to see that.
No, no. Again, so you're right. You're right. That's only something you can experience. It's
The
not
moment I
something that'll
start
get you. Thoughts
believing,
won't get you there.
yeah, this is what I see. Like if I think, if I believe in any of that, the only way when I experience beauty is between objects in
Mm.
whatever is. So as like that example, for example, that example, for example, between future and past, if I can stay a little bit in there, like then I can clearly see.
Yeah. Okay. So this is synchronicity, because I was just thinking about. I wish you were here earlier when Richard was describing something about if I'll get him to do it again for you.
Take away time and past.
Yes. So if you're in the present, Richard, tell Brenny that one. Get
I've
her
heard
to
that. I
experience
know
that.
that. I know an example when you don't about future and past before. I try to practice, but if you have to add something, sorry, Richard, you can go.
So what the mind does is it continues to bring up new beliefs.
Okay.
So the starting point is to just ask, if you don't use past or future, what do you believe? Just right now in this present moment, what do you believe if you don't access past or future?
You cannot be, there is there is nothing to believe, like there is space.
So what is your experience of this right now?
So it's like just blank. There is nothing that you
Yes.
cannot. Yeah.
So then what do you notice about the quality of thoughts? They have nothing to do with direct reality. They're based in the past or the future. And the quality of thought, what it's always doing, which we'll call the mind, is it's trying to bring you to the next always.
Yes.
Right? It's just,
yes.
So there is nothing in the next because there's nothing to it.
Oh, okay.
So
Wait.
it might bring up something that perhaps it says, oh, this one will work. There's a nice belief. And you might buy that, but the point is just say, well, it's another belief. It's another thought. And again, that thought won't have anything. The thoughts have no power or reality of their own, except they appear to, but they borrow their reality from our engagement with them. The reality that we are, let's
There
call
you
we
go.
are.
There's another discovery.
It borrows it from us. It has none of its own. And the continuity only appears because of the amount of attention we give it. So it continues. That's all.
Wow. Okay. You see, that's like, oh, and immediately, sorry, but immediately when opening happens, it's totally different dimension of existence. It's like, for me, like it's so visual, like literally, like I drop into something totally else, like it's nothing related to this. Like I feel it's like space is like behind it. So, wee! Oh my God. It's like so deep.
Yeah.
Oh, this is, and then when I get into this, I feel oh my God.
Yeah. And Branny, resist the temptation to describe it. Just stay in the laughter. That's where it lives. That's where the experience is. And resist the idea of thing. Now, also notice though that when you were doing that, when you were in that blank, there was no past or future, and therefore no thoughts. You were still playing with your hair. You were still sitting there. There were still thoughts going on in your head. Life was continuing. It was still all happening.
But I'm not in it.
No, that's right, exactly. You weren't, there was no you in it. It was just happening.
Oh, yes, but I
Well, that's
feel
in
weird.
your experience. That's in your experience. You won't make sense of it with mine. Don't try. Just recognize your experience.
Oh wow, okay. You're just looking through the eyes, like through.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Most of the world lives in a conceptual reality. Most of the world take concept to be something actual and relate to that. Right? What we're pointing you to is a wordless place. No description, no definition can exist there. Just experiencing. And you've had a couple of moments of that today. That's beautiful. And you know those moments when you simply remember the laughter that occurred was your expression of your experience of those moments.
You know what is my experience like when this I'm immersed in that field? It feels so intelligent, like somehow. Oh,
Yes.
sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so.
I get what you're saying. You've said enough.
Yeah, try and describe it. It's interesting to ask these questions, like in that what do you call it? Like what words would you use? We know it's not a word, but what would you use? What feels right?
Oh, I don't know. It's
What is this that has no past, that has no past or future?
it's so, I don't know, it's so strong. Like I'm so high on some drugs. Like I'm not jack, but it's so above anything.
So can it be known? Can it be,
Oh.
let's say, can it be understood
It
by any
knows you.
thought?
No, it knows itself. Like
It knows itself. Does it? Yeah, it knows itself. Perfect answer. Is there any
oh.
does it have a beginning or an end?
Stay with that. Stay with what you're experiencing. That's where the beauty is. Yes. There you go. Over the edge, eh? Ooh. Free fall. Allow that falling. Yes.
Oh, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's part of it too. Beautiful. I love that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's just another thought coming in, another belief that that's something to fear, but it's like free falling without a parachute. But the
And when
beauty
you
about that is that
recognize that there's no
there is
bottom to
nowhere to
hit,
land.
then the fear goes, yes.
There is no ground, so there's nowhere to land.
And
You
my
don't need
mind
somewhere
is
to.
saying it's fake. No. Oh my God.
Or your mind is trying to be a parachute, but it won't work. Feel what you're feeling. Feel the fear. That's fine. Feel whatever it is you're feeling. It'll be a cascade of things.
Oh my God. Oh, it's a battle.
Mm.
Now I can see how mind is. Oh wow, it's so don't want to let go.
Yeah.
Mm. Why needs to be so much battle? Like I don't understand.
Yeah, well, it's just the way it is. I'm
Well,
not brushing it off
it is.
like that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'll let you.
There you go.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it's the way the mind just wants to keep bringing itself back in. It'll be just another belief. That's another belief there that it's so hard, right? It's another belief. It's thought. It's based in thought. So what are you without that belief?
Again, it's space. There is nothing.
Hmm.
Oof.
So if you're falling, that immediately produces a sensation of fear, falling. And then the mind will try and be a parachute. And when that won't work, it produces vines on the cliff for you to grab a hold of. And when that doesn't work, it tries to build a floor underneath you for you to stand on. When that doesn't work, it's just falling. And when there's acceptance of falling, there's just acceptance of the fear of falling. And then the point comes where I'm not going to hit the ground and splatter. There is no ground to hit. Falling is all there is. Then the fear goes. It's okay to fall because that's all there is just falling. And then that experience ends and another experience comes along, and the other experience is very likely to be old stuff coming back in, trying to re-establish itself. But now you've seen how fragile that can be. And you can just stand at the cliff face and lean back and let yourself go again. And each time you do it, you retrain your brain.
Okay. Small bites then, I guess.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It's an illusion mostly to think that this can be suddenly complete and permanent.
Really?
Mm.
I was thinking when explodes, like sometimes explosion can be enough to
Yeah,
burn all the
yep.
trees.
That can be, and that usually can last anywhere from a couple of hours to a couple of years even, or a year. Most people will lose it again within 12 months. It took
Oh,
Richard
okay.
3 days to lose it when it happened for him.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, I was
Because
thinking
the old conditioning comes back in. You can't have 20, 30, 40, 50 years or whatever of conditioning instantly change because it's conditioned.
Oh, okay. So okay. So okay. I assumed wrongly. So I was thinking for majority people when it happened, they stay. They
No,
don't
no.
get.
Oh, look, I mean, my experience is limited. With Liberation Unleashed, I've probably helped 150 people through the gate. And those few, maybe 2 or 3 that had a really big epiphany, lost it again within a few months. And the rest of them was progressive, slow and progressive. Most of
Okay.
the people that I've worked with in the groups, it's slow and progressive. So there's in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out.
Oh, this is so helpful. I
Yeah.
don't know why I assume that it's one-time deal.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. No, that's definitely not a one-time deal. And part of the issue is, I think, and this is just a story that's come up here, but it seems to be related to experience with other people, my interpretation of other people. But my own experience with myself is that when we're in it, mind is not active and we're having direct experience. And one thing that seems to happen is that when we're in direct experience, stuff does not get laid down into memory. Memory seems to rely on a story
Yeah.
to give it coherence and to be able to recall or reconstruct it when the time comes to recall it. Right? And the consequence is that we can be in and out, in and out, in and out, but we don't remember the ends because they're direct experience. So we consequently discount them.
Yeah, what mind is offering is like you cannot exist without the thought, but that's actually not true.
Just another belief.
Like, yeah,
It's another thought.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, my God,
Just
you
another.
helped me so much, Paul, with this. Like, I will use that like board to write the so I can really experience the emptiness of the thought. And this
Yes.
with like, oh my God, you helped me all.
Mm.
Okay, so
Thoughts
yeah, I
are
think
objects. Thoughts
yeah,
are objects. They're not you. You say your thoughts, but they're not you. They're just arisings in your consciousness, but they're not you. You are maybe the space in which they arise, but you are not the thoughts. They are just objects. Just like you
yeah,
say
yeah, yeah.
there's a battle going on. Is there an actual battle of thoughts going on? I mean, did they pull out little swords and they're like jousting with each other there? Do any one of those thoughts actually know about another thought?
No, it does. Oh my God. Yeah,
So they
If
can't fight,
oh,
can they? There's no
when you
such thing as a
yeah,
battle, is
yeah,
there?
yeah, when you point like that, it feels so. Oh my God. Oh my God, you need to laugh. But you know, mind is okay. So mind is asking me. So you need to have opinion about your life.
That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what is your like? Who are you? Like, what is your story? What do you say to people? Like, how you exist without story? Because to be honest, like I realized that more and more, like how heavy identity is, like this persona that I'm carrying with myself, and it just wants to drop. That I don't know how to let it go because it feels so huge.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's killing. Not again what it's killing because nothing can
Yeah.
kill
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
oh my God, I love this
Yeah.
battlefield with.
It's
They
great.
don't know each
Yeah.
other. They cannot know each other.
Right.
Oh my God, this is amazing. I love this. Yeah, I know. You know when the mind gets me, like, how you're going to serve, like, existence, like real existence, in a sense, those daily things, like how you're going to pay a rent, a job, like like state of
They happen
affairs.
just like you were playing with your hair
Yeah.
when you were laughing and you're unaware of it but it was still happening. Well, paying your rent is like that. It just happens.
Okay.
You know how to do all those things. You've trained the body to do those things. It can do them well.
Yeah, yeah, we are ego is we are not going to survive if we listen to you. Like if you're continuing on this a road of awakening, we are going to die.
Mm.
Like, you're not going to find a job. You're not going, like, you're not improving yourself.
Mm.
And that's where it gets me. Okay, yeah, but it's illusion. Okay, oh my God. You help a lot. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's like, I guess it's just show up. This is the only, like, I could sit today and like being sad about this and that, but you see, changed everything.
Mm. The story that turned up here just a minute ago was that, let's say you've got an imaginary Chinese friend, right?
Okay.
And you're standing beside your imaginary Chinese friend in front of the chalkboard. And his Chinese friend says, "So what's your current thought?" And you say, blah, 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 blah. And he writes it on the board in Chinese.
Oh,
For you, it's nothing but squiggles
yeah,
on the board. It doesn't have any meaning at all. It's just marks.
yeah. Literally objects,
Mm.
no power. But yeah, so
So
that means,
it's the emptiness concept of Buddhism. There are no inherent characteristics in anything or anybody. All of those characteristics are an overlay applied by mind.
so everything is empty actually, right?
Yes. Well, put it this way: there's no cupness in a cup. There's no carness in a car. There's no treeness in a tree. They're all things that we give it with our mind.
Yeah, I can see that only if I put the thought first on the board and then I can see that.
Yes, you can see.
Before,
Yes.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, I can, if I think about the cup, I think it's cup. But if I put this is cup, then it's not.
that's right.
Who would like guess that emptiness can be so beautiful?
Only those who've experienced it. Yes. Yeah.
My God. I don't know.
And
But
when shit turns up,
yeah,
it's a very welcome relative, and it comes bearing a message for you.
I'm not there still.
Uh,
So
but
no,
knowing that that's the case means you'll start looking for the message. And when you
right now,
start seeing the message, then you'll start welcoming that visitor. You say you're not there yet, but you don't know. Wait till the next experience.
yeah, maybe, but right now I'm happy just because I
Yes.
can see emptiness, like I can feel it
Yeah.
clearly, and it's glowing. How to say? It's clear that I can feel it. But the moment I put label, like if I look around me and then it labels like room, like this, that, it's heavy. It's like I
Yes.
want
Yeah.
the I
Yeah,
cannot believe in any thought right now.
yeah. It's perfectly right. I would you, you throw away all those concepts, even the concept of instant and progressive. Your mind's not bringing you that, so just ignore it. They're just beliefs. They're just thoughts. You can see it so clearly. Just
I
allow
can
yourself to
see.
marinate in that which you see.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
The space doesn't require concepts of the future right now. It doesn't just marinate, stay there, enjoy that which you see. Recognize it for what it's always been. Just overlooked by attention to thoughts. That's all.
Yeah. What an illusion, my God. Like,
All right,
and it's
I'm going
so
to wind up now. I've
okay,
got,
thank you. Sorry if I
yes.
prolonged too much.
No,
Okay.
don't be sorry. No, everything's fine.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
just,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you so much, everyone.
okay.
Bye.
Yeah. Thank you, Vince. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.